Get ready for the dictation. Start. Social distancing and stay home, stay safe became the mantras when the nationwide lockdown was announced on 24 March 2020 in an attempt to arrest the spread of coronavirus. Lockdown 2.0 was announced from 14 April 2020 when the curve indicating the number of infected cases continued to rise despite the restrictions. This time, the degrees of restrictions across regions varied depending on the spread and intensity of the virus infection. However, by this time, the capability to stay home and stay safe of about one tenth of the population had worn out because they neither lived in what could be called as a home nor were they safe inside their dwellings given the accepted norms of social distancing and hygiene. These were the migrant workers who provide support services to every sector and across the classes. Their savings had dried out as they supported themselves without jobs, and though the government, by declaring it as a nation disaster, had made it obligatory for the employers to pay the wages as per the National Disaster Management Act, it is difficult to assess its implementation. This is because, firstly, the administrative machinery to ensure compliance across the nation is far from adequate. Secondly, the income earned by the self-employed workers cannot be termed as wages, which means that these workers would have to go without earnings when there is no work. Then there are those engaged in piece-rated jobs whose remuneration would differ depending on pieces made. And finally, the MSMEs or tiny enterprises are financially too fragile to release the wages without production. Perhaps only the domestic workers whose contracts involve a significant personal component, making them relatively indispensable, might have received their wages during the lockdowns. By the end of lockdown 1.0, the virus had made its appearance in the urban slums where it was feared to flare faster due to the sheer density of population, the use of common toilets, etc. Thousands began to go back to their home states and later governments arranged for safe return of the migrants. Harris Todaro Model of Migration 1970 shows how rural oblique agricultural workers decide to migrate to urban oblique industrial spaces when the expected wage rate in the urban industrial sector is significantly higher than their present wages in the rural sector. The expected wage is a ratio of the percent urban wage rate and the chances of finding a job, the latter being a ratio of the number of jobs available and the total number of aspirants, which includes those living in the urban sector and the new migrants. Naturally, if the chance of finding a job is poor, the expected wage is low and the decision to migrate is put off. What plays an important role in changing this calculation is the presence of a kin or a community member in the urban sector. Availability of such a support induces migration, which is a rational personal choice by providing at least an initial base to a new migrant. And while every migrant may dream of a secure job in formal sector, as more migrants flow in, they are compelled to settle in the unorganized or informal sector. In fact, even their hosts may be earning their livelihood out of the informal sector, as bad harvest, subdivision of family land, and poor employment opportunities drive more and more people to migrate to megacities. This number swells, and it is nearly impossible to track the size of workforce in the urban informal sector. Stop.